So the drums of the election 2024 are in the air, although there are lots of doubts and speculations. And we were wondering, from your point of view, from your vintage point of view, what do you think? Is it another red herring, or there's going to be elections in next year?
That's what we hope, that next year will be an election year in Pakistan. One should not doubt about that, because if elections are not held, it means that our establishment and the government, those who are in power, they have to resort to extra constitutional measures, which I don't think so the current environment allows them to do. So we are going to have elections, inshallah. But yes, people are desperately waiting for the election date. And one of the, I would say, one-liner which is very popular on the social media these days is that, I mean, people are maybe unaware of the election date, but they are fully convinced that who is going to form the government. So that kind of jokes are in there, and it's good to see that different political parties, they have started their campaign. Today, I was just listening to the IPP leaders, the Istakam Pakistan party leaders. They are making big claims, big promises, and at the same time, Muslim League Nawaz has come out in the open with election campaign. People's Party is gearing up for that. PTI is in trouble, but yes, as we have said, that elections are in the air, and what we are hoping that early next year, in the first quarter, Pakistan will have its general election.
Yeah, I'll just pick
Yes.
up the first part of your narration, the blatancy and the nakedness of this impression that the deal is already done and we already know who the prime minister. I mean, it is really unheard of in any democracy, especially when General Bajwa said that the army is out of politics. What do you make of this? I mean, this impression, whether it's a perception or a reality, we don't know. But it's very dangerous for Pakistan and the establishment.
I'll call it a perception. And this perception is being built from two sides. One side is, of course, the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz and its leadership. They are posing themselves as the future government of Pakistan. And people and those analysts who are pro PMLN, or those who are critical of PMLN, when they see that, the way things are arranged in their favor, they think that yes, their claims have some substance. For example, we see that, I mean, a thrice elected prime minister who was seen as a convict, as an absconder till few days back. Suddenly we see that, I mean, things are rolling in his favor. What we say, that the winds are blowing in his favor, and all the those institutions which used to brand him as one of the, as a person who indulges in corruption, he is in his family using his politics to advance their business interest. Now they are, giving him a lease of life, a clean chit. So this raises many eyebrows, that why this is being done. Either those institutions like NAB, they were wrong in the past, or they are grossly off the mark today. So this is one thing which is raising eyebrows. And then the way the courts are being kind on Nawaz Sharif. I mean, there was time that he was seen as an absconder, and the Panama case was, around his neck like a millstone. But now things have changed. So people are justified in asking that, when the people in the street, they change, does the law also change? Does the constitution also change? So this is the critical view which is coming, which is trying to, I would say, which is making a negative mark on Mr. Nawaz Sharif, and his next bid for power. But I mean, those people who are in his favor, they see him as the most experienced person, the person I mean, who was treated wrongly by the establishment, by the institutions, and now those mistakes are being corrected. But the real thing is not what the players are saying, what the PMLN is saying, or its opponents are saying. The real challenge for Nawaz Sharif is the public perception. How do the people see those people who we call the swing vote? So I mean, they are just wondering. I mean, the way the fortunes of Mr. Nawaz Sharif have changed. So I think Nawaz Sharif faces a very uphill task, changing that perception, two perceptions: that he is an honest man, he has to win their hearts and minds, and two, that there has been no deal with the establishment. As far as the man on the street is concerned, they think there has been a deal, and they think that Mr. Nawaz Sharif and his family, they have resorted to a lot of corruption in Pakistan. This is the challenge which Nawaz Sharif faces, and is a very fundamental challenge for him for his next bid of prime ministership. Ji.
Yeah, we have seen some activity by PMLN with Nawaz Sharif's coming to Lahore, and we also hear that there is some procession by the Istikam Pakistan party, but we haven't seen much activity from Jamiat Ulama Islam or ANP or People's Party, who are also one of the main, especially People's Party, one of the main contenders in Punjab. Do you think that they know something that we don't know, or the people in Pakistan don't know about the elections?
I mean, there are two things. One is that PMLN is taking a head start because their leader had to come back. So they spent billions of rupees and mobilized their workers from across the country to, to hold a substantive good show of power. But that show lacked that public emotions and enthusiasm which we see in, which is very usual. So in a way, and they spent a lot of money to do that. So it was a good show, but it was not an amazing show. And it was done just to welcome Mr. Sharif. And before that, they had few other, public meetings, and in which they served food and they served, they again spent a lot of money. Even paradise was promised to those who will attend those public meetings or public rallies. So this is one part. IPP, of course, it's the newest contender. They've just been, allotted a election symbol, an eagle, and they also have held their first election meeting today. I would say that the People's Party and the other political parties are waiting for the election date. Once that election date is announced, then I would see that these political parties will also start organizing rallies. As far as People's Party is concerned, we have to keep in mind this is the only political party in Pakistan which has a substantive and a secure number of seats from the Sindh province. I mean, their seats in the rural Sindh are secured, and at the same time, they are hoping to make gains in urban Sindh, where in the last elections, PTI won most of the seats, and then MQM used to dominate. So they are hoping to increase their pie over there as well. So now they have to worry about South Punjab and Central Punjab. So we can't say that, I mean, how far they will be successful, but at least 40, 45 seats are already in their bag. This is not the case with PMLN. PMLN is just confined to Punjab, and it doesn't exist in any other province, or if it exists, it is a very nominal presence. Even in KP, in the Hazara belt, where it used to have some kind of following. In Balochistan, they are nowhere. In Sindh, they are nowhere. So, but in Punjab, which was once, one of the forte of PMLN government, now what we see, there are different contenders. PTI is broken. PTI is under a lot of pressure, but still, when the elections will be held, they might win a few seats. I mean, different people are predicting different numbers. So if they're allowed to contest elections and ballot on ballot, you have bat on the as a symbol. So PTI is going. I'm not saying it's going to win the election, but it's going to win few seats. Then IPP, the new party, it will bank on electables. I see independent people winning a number of seats in Punjab. At the same time, People's Party will also try to bank on electables. So their PMLN is facing a lot of competition. And we should also not forget that because of the past performance of the 16-month performance of PDM, which many sees was very poor and worse in economic management, the all the pressure of that has come on PMLN. So they will have to justify that as well. Although Nawaz Sharif wants to forget that, he thinks that his past performance end in 2017, but people are not ready to forget the 16-month rule of the PDM, which was led by the PMLN government, and Mr. Isaac Dar was calling the shots on the economic front. So they are making tall promises, but it is not easy right for Mr. Nawaz Sharif. And even if it emerges as a majority party in Punjab, so I see that the next parliament most likely is going to be a hung parliament, where we again have to, different political parties have to come together. And there I see People's Party is also have a slight sort of a ray of hope that they might also be able to win substantive seats to lead that kind of a coalition government. Yes, Mr. Swail.
Yeah, I mean, the Pakistani electoral and political landscape, and especially the electoral architecture, is very, very strange because you can see it's almost impossible to defeat Pakistan People's Party in Sindh and to take some seats from JOI, from KPK, and that leaves us the main battleground is in Punjab, pretty much the central Punjab, and the vying factions are Imran Khan of PTI and PMLN, led by Nawaz Sharif. What is the mood on in the streets right now? What do you see? What's in the air? I know that there are certain polls, but I'm sure they must be skewed. What is the general public or the Pakistani ordinary Pakistani is talking about?
I mean, number one thing is that, of course, I don't have any poll numbers, and I have not conducted my, any poll myself. I can show you a glimpse of the urban Pakistan. In urban Pakistan, people in Karachi, in Lahore, or in Islamabad, the middle class people, the professional people, the educated ones. So they are really disappointed, and there's a sense of hopelessness right now about the entire process. And one thing is that, of course, the tough economic conditions, they are taking the toll on most of the Pakistanis, and people are worried. Businesses are closing down, unemployment is increasing. But at the same time, economic activity is slowing down. So it is a very challenging situation for the middle class, and more people, as we have seen in the World Bank data, that more and more people are sliding into below the poverty line. So that figure is around 12 million now. So if there were number of poor were 35 million in the past, 35% in the past, it has jumped to now 39% of the Pakistan's total population. 39% plus 39.4, I think. So this is a challenging situation, which is a very gloomy economic situation. At the same time, because of the political polarization, they don't see that political situation is going to diffuse anytime soon. And I don't think so any of the political parties has the capacity and the ability to pull Pakistan out of the trouble single-handedly. And so far, what we have heard in their speeches, none of them seem to have any practical program, any vision, any manifesto which can inspire the people. So what I would say is that the 21st century Pakistan is standing at some other level, and the politicians belonging to the 20th century, they are, echoing the line which does not, echo with the people, the youth of Pakistan. Those people who I would say 65% of Pakistanis, if we say that most of the Pakistanis are below 35 year and younger. So that is a very challenging situation for all the political parties. How to connect with the youth of Pakistan and the 21st century Pakistan. And what we see, it's very ironic. Nawaz Sharif was contesting elections in 1985, and in 2024 elections again he's seen as a future prime minister. So this is also raises question mark about Pakistan's democratic credentials. It is its process, that how democratic are Pakistani political parties are, how strong are the civil institutions, is there a will to change? So these are basic questions, and don't think so. Any of the political parties is even thinking in these terms, because I mean, one of the I would say condition prerequisite of democracy is that political parties hold their internal elections. So none of the major political parties are prepared to do so, barring Jamaat Islami, which is a right-wing political party. The rest of the political parties are all dynastic. So that is a negation of democracy. But they are not ready to talk about it. And they don't have a vision, as I've said, they don't have a manifesto. They are making tall claims. Today, IPP leaders were saying that we are going to provide fuel to those individuals who drive motorbikes at lower rates, and the electricity would be free for many people, and we are going to raise salaries. The minimum salary would be 50,000 rupees. But where they are going to get the fiscal space to do all these things? So nobody's talking about that. So they are tall in promises, but they don't have a solid program.
Yeah, the lack of agenda by any political party has always been a problem. I think when late Zulfikar Ali Bhutto came with his new Mansoor, Roti, Kapra, and Makan, basically since then that kind of a narrative hasn't been there. So, do you think now, with the Pakistan Bachao kind of a movement, or something similar to that PMLN has embarked upon, do you think it will be good?
I mean, PMLN has come with a slogan, "Phir se," that is, which dwells in the past. Okay, we are going to do it again. And it is not a forward-looking manifesto. What Nawaz Sharif is trying to bank on is his past performance, which is questionable, his past economic management, which is again questionable, and he's promising that he's going to deliver. But I mean, if you ask tough questions from PMLN people like that, you are saying that we set up electricity power plant, but that is now those plants have become a burden on Pakistan because Pakistan, whether we use them or we don't use them, we have to make billions of rupees of capacity payment. So it was a flawed policy. Setting up big infrastructure projects on borrowed money, it is a flawed policy. So I don't think so that Nawaz Sharif has come up with a vision for the future. And even his slogan, "Phir se," again, it shows that, I mean, he's still, he's being held hostage in the past. He's living in a bubble of 20th century. And Pakistan has moved much beyond that. Nobody's talking about, I mean, what are the aspirations of the 21st century Pakistani youth? And this is, I think, the biggest gap. And then leadership they don't have just to make big promises. They also have to provide vision, a futuristic vision about the country, Pakistan of the future, how they envision Pakistan. Again, on grounded on practical thinking. So again, they don't have any manifesto. They don't have any dreams, even grand dreams to sell, besides making, false promises.
Well, thank you, Ahmed. We have just joined by another Pakistani journalist and analyst, Amir Ahmad Khan, and Amir Zia, he's your namesake. Thank you very much, Amir Ahmad Khan, to joining us. Can you hear me correctly?
Yes, I can hear you. It's a pleasure joining you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I am with Amir here, and we were talking about whether election 2024 are happening and how this entire perception that the elections will be fair or not is really manifesting itself in the political arena. And I was just wondering what your thoughts would be on it.
Well, I think there are two things. One is whether elections are happening at all or not, and the second is how fair or impartial they are going to be. So, as far as and I don't think that the two are necessarily connected, because elect, uh, historically we've seen that the election landscape, it is never even, it is never evenly balanced for all Pakistani political players. For some reason or the other, one of the parties is always at a disadvantage compared to the others. But coming back to the original question, whether we're looking at the possibility of elections over the next 3 to 4 months, then yes, things do seem to be falling into place. The election commission is getting more and more confident as it finishes up more and more of its work. There is less we hear in terms of doubts about the possibility of the election happening over the next 3 months than we do about the parties getting up. There is political activity within the parties also. So yes, it does look very, very likely that we will be having a polling day early next year. Now, in terms of fairness and impartial or the impartiality of these elections, well, that entirely depends on what yardsticks you're using. If you're using the correct yardstick that every party should be there, every party should be political parties should have an equal go, I guess, both in terms of campaigning, in terms of getting its the kind of candidates that it wants and all that, and the entire wherewithal of the election. Well, that's never really happened in Pakistan, has it? And there's very, very little going around which will make us expect that this could be any different.
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, this election, as it seems that the political engineering or pre-engineering is at its best. I don't think that we have any example before in any of the election, because most of the election there were allegations of rigging, that so one-sided kind of political engineering has happened. And as we speak, PTI is really under severe punishment, so to say, and they can't even do procession. So what will be the legitimacy of this election, even if they do happen?
I think it will be very close to what we saw in 2002 because I don't tend to agree that we've seen political engineering at its best and unprecedented or it's never happened before because it's happened repeatedly. We've had instances such as 1990 when an entire election was stolen, where there was zero transparency over the results. And then what we're looking at now is exactly what we saw in 2002. I find it difficult to understand why people tend to forget the 2002 elections, which is during which we saw basically what we're looking at today is a kind of a repeat of a replay of what we saw in 2002. So I think every election in Pakistan has had varying degrees of questions surrounding their credibility. But it's not that what we're looking at today has never happened before, which is one of the reasons why it is happening and why Pakistanis are playing along with it. The political parties are getting into the act come polling day, which normally happens about a month before the election, that the political temperature also picks up and there's a lot of political activity. So all of that seems to be going on. So I think it's mainly because Pakistani, this is the ninth election since General Zia first started restarted the electoral exercise in Pakistan in 1985. And I think in all eight elections, this is what Pakistanis have seen, and this is what they're prepared for.
Um, we thank you to all of our guests today who gave their valuable opinion on the election 2024. Although the election has been announced probably 28th of January 2024, but there is still a lot of mist, a lot of gray areas there, and a lot of persecution for one party, PTI, whose government under the premiership of Imran Khan was ousted, roughly coming to about 2 years. So Pakistan is still in doldrums, and I hope that things improve and the prestige and respect of the Pakistan establishment, army in particular, and Pakistan itself is restored by a fair and free elections. Until then, we say thank you very much for watching Quews.news, my program on election 2024. I'm Dr. Sohail Qureshi, and I say goodbye from our London studios.